Hi, everybody. My name is Dana Billington. I am the nutritionist at the Vineyards Country Club. Today, I'm going to go over a few things about healthy eating during this quarantine time. I'm going to go over two different topics. The first one is on some behavioral issues that may have arisen during this time. And then the second topic is supplementation for probably some lack of food groups that we are not either getting at all or getting enough of. So I do have notes here, so if you see me looking down, I just want to make sure that I cover everything that I want to go over. So let's start with the behavioral patterns first. I know this is a stressful time for everybody. Either in some way or another, we're stuck at home more. We have a lack of social activities that we normally engage in. Our gym patterns are different. We may be just working out at home or taking walks or runs or bike riding a little bit more outside. We're not lifting as many weights or as heavy weights as we normally do. Just our whole routine in general has been thrown off in some way, shape, or form. We're in the house either by ourselves or with other family members, so we're working around other people's schedules as well. So that can become an issue. This causes a lot of stress, and a lot of people are stress or emotional eaters. This is a scary time. Nobody really understands to the full extent of what's going on and how long this is going to take, and the future from now. So the best thing to do is to first off limit the amount of news we watch a day on the virus. I would limit it to about a half hour to an hour tops a day, so that you're still informed and you understand what's going on and you know what's going on in our state and in our country. But watching it for hours on end is only going to bring on more of that stress and emotion. One day we might be really happy and everything seems to be going good, and then the next day there may be more deaths, and that's kind of stressful and upsetting to keep hearing. We're on a roller coaster ride. It's up one day, it's down the next. So limit your intake of news. Try watching some sitcoms. Maybe there's older sitcoms that you liked years ago that aren't on anymore, or they may be on like a minor station, like a TBS or something like that. Make sure you have time to laugh still and have fun. Get outside. Sunshine does wonders for our attitude, and we're lucky that we live here in Florida and it's beautiful out. It is a little hot, but get outside and take a walk and just be out in nature. Sometimes that's a good thing to get away from it all, and it seems almost normal when we go outside. So, still stay your distance, but, do some other activities. A lot of people say that they're bored during this time. So this is a good time to tackle some home projects that you've been putting off for months maybe. I'll get to that one, whatever. But, go out and clean that garage or clean your closets or do a spring cleaning from top to bottom in your house. Make it a nice place to be since we're spending so much time there. Make it comfortable to you, and we're spending all this time in there. Make it your happy place as much as you can. If you're bored, check on family members, maybe ones that are farther away that would just like to hear your voice. Give them a call and see what they're up to. Let them catch up with you, and sometimes it's just nice to hear somebody's voice and know that other people are still out there. run some errands for people maybe in your community that can't get out, elderly people or people that have pre-existing conditions. See if they need a grocery store run, or maybe they just need somebody to run to the bank or the post office for them, or something where they don't really feel comfortable getting out and doing. You could go and do for them if you feel comfortable going out. Maybe learn a new hobby, or if you had an old hobby that you did years ago, or maybe way back in high school or college, maybe you painted or did pottery or something, and you still have access to stuff like that, go ahead and pick it up again and see how well you do, or try something entirely new. Maybe try some photography. We all have cameras on our phones nowadays, so even just start with that. Gardening is a nice, peaceful hobby to do. You're kind of out with nature and you get to see progress with that. Try some new classes online. I know Vineyards itself is putting up videos for classes. So this is a great time to try a new class. Try something you never have done before. If you're not a Pilates person, maybe try a Pilates class, or yoga. Try just maybe even stretching a little bit. Put it in your routine every day. There's plenty of free videos out there for everybody. So give those a try and see what works and what doesn't for you. There's a lot of different things to try. Just keep your mind open. The next thing I want to talk about is trying to stay on a schedule. So you should still try to stay on your sleep schedule. As much as, everybody, their lives have changed, the best thing to do is go to bed around the same time you normally do when everything is so-called normal in this world, within an hour of your normal bedtime. And try waking up at the same time or within an hour of your normal waking time, just so that your body has a sense of normalcy in that sense, because that does play a role on our mental capacity too. So try doing that, and try to still stay on your eating schedule too. If you are a breakfast eater, still keep eating breakfast. If you don't eat breakfast, then don't. Try not to change anything that your life is normally a scheduled routine. Obviously, work we can't help, but if you're a 3-meal-a-day person, stick with your 3 meals. Don't start snacking just because we have the availability to food, because we're all home. Our refrigerator's right there. We open that door how many times a day? Try to just keep it to the same meals you do as when everything is so-called normal. Make sure we're drinking enough water. That's a huge one, because a lot of people don't when they're busy at work. So now that you're home, try to be more aware of your water drinking. That's something you can work on for a self-improvement project. If you have trouble at night and you have to get up, make sure you stop, have a glass of water after dinner and then call it. But make sure first thing in the morning while your coffee's brewing, if you drink coffee, go ahead and drink a glass of water while you're waiting for your coffee. Have one with every meal, and that'll help boost your water intake. And if you're outside exercising, make sure to bring water with you, since it's very hot here lately. And have another glass when you get home in your air-conditioned environment. The next thing I want to go over is lack of nutrients during this time. So I'm gonna start with vegetables, of course, because first off, most of us probably don't get enough when everything is so-called normal. But now with the grocery stores possibly having shortages on certain days of certain things, or you don't really know what to get because you're kind of worried about contamination, or, people touching every single piece of fruit or vegetable that's out, in separate packages or not in packages. Go for stuff that is packaged if you want fresh. Make sure your spinach or lettuce is bagged or in the plastic bins. Make sure, like peppers, tomatoes, it's either bagged or in a little plastic container. Same with your fruits. Buy a bag of apples versus picking out your own. Make sure your berries are in a container. Still wash them when you get home, but you're in a safer position there because you don't know how many people have handled that one pepper or that one tomato that's sitting out. You're better off buying it in a bag. Less people touching it, less contamination. There's nothing wrong with frozen veggies. There are a lot of great ones out there without any kind of sauces or butter or added whatever in them. Just plain old broccoli. Green Giant's a good one. Bird's Eye's another good one. And there's other ones out there. Publix, even some of their own brand of veggies are perfectly fine. Just read your labels. Make sure that it doesn't have any butter or anything added. Just go back to the ingredient label and read. It should just say straight up broccoli, straight up Brussels sprouts, nothing else in there. Most of those companies now do fresh frozen, so it's a better option. It's better than nothing. Stay away from your canned veggies. Usually they're packed with sodium and other things besides the vegetables themselves, so nix those and stick with your frozen and your fresh. If you're not getting enough vegetables, the best thing to get is some kind of greens powder. I get this brand called Amazing Grass. You don't have to get that one in particular. This is a chocolate flavor because I cannot stand the taste of the greens personally. But I know at this time I'm not getting the amount of vegetables that I normally get. So this is a good substitute. There's a scooper in there. I just scoop it in the glass, pour some water, stir it up, and chug it down. I know it's giving me some vitamins and minerals that I may possibly be missing on certain days with lack of vegetables and fruits. So I'm going to keep it in my refrigerator until this is over. I got this at Amazon, but I know Whole Foods does carry this as well, and I believe most Publix carry this also. And I'm not sure about like Target and Walmart, but this is a good go-to. It's called Amazing Grass, and this is the green superfood. Another good thing, I take this normally every day, regardless of our situation in quarantine or not. It's just a multivitamin, multi-mineral. You don't have to get the brand I take. There's nothing spectacular about it, except I go with something that has, I'm going to put it up to the camera. If you can see that little, this is hard to do, circle down there, and I know you can't read it, but it says GMP. So this, a third-party company that goes and tests these products to make sure that there's not illegal substances in there. So most of your pill form supplements will be tested in that way, and the good manufacturing label is definitely worthwhile to check for. It's usually on the back. To see it really good, I need my glasses, but because it's tiny, but it's just a GMP and it's a little circle. So again, I'm going to put that up to the camera. I know it won't focus on the letters, but that little circle right there is what you're looking for. And again, vitamin D is important for, it does boost our attitude a little bit, and it's good for our hormones. We need it for good hormonal function. I'm not going to get too in depth in that right now, but you don't have to take a vitamin D supplement. I mean, we live in the Sunshine State. It's sunny every day just about. So, you know, just try and get out and let it help boost your mood a little bit. You know, it does wonders for our mental state and for our physical state, which, I mean, you may not feel a difference, but it does help. So vitamin D, definitely you don't need to take a supplement, but just make sure you're getting out in the sun. But if you do want to take a supplement form, again, look for that good manufacturing label on the back. We're going to move on to protein and probably the lack of protein in your diet. And this may be an everyday thing in your life. I know with right now the lack of meat in the stores or dairy products, you know, maybe we can't get everything that we normally get, and some people are anti-dairy, which is fine. You don't have to be a dairy eater to get all your protein. So I'm going to bring in my protein powder. You don't have to get the brand I get. I'm going to show you what to look for, just like with our vitamin. The most important thing to look for is this little check, and I'll put that up to the camera. It's the informed choice check. It's trusted by sport, so any athlete, but I think every person that's concerned with their health should be looking for this label. And I'm going to put it up to the camera. And it's this one right here is what you want to look for. And if you're shopping online, you can always pull up like a smaller version and find that label. You can also go to their website. They have a website. I believe it's Informed Choice, but you could Google that and it will pull up all the brands. But you have to make sure that it's the particular protein powder that you're looking for, because they don't test every single brand, all their products. They only test certain products. So what this company does is it pulls products randomly, either in the warehouse or on shelves, and will test them. And they test for any traces of any banned substances, and it detects them up to 0.01% of any banned substance, because a lot of these proteins and supplements are made in certain factories, and certain companies may not clean the equipment as well, and then the next company comes in and does their product, and it may pick up something from the previous company that maybe does spike their products with banned substances. So always look for that label, the Informed Choice label. And then you're going to know that your protein powder is safe. I know a lot of people get a little weird about protein powder, but it's perfectly fine. It's been tested inside, outside, upside down, hundreds of thousands of times, and there's no evidence that anybody with healthy kidneys cannot have protein powder. Also, eggs and egg whites. You know, egg whites are a great source of protein if you're trying to cut back on your calorie intake a little. if you are not moving as much as you did prior to this quarantine, you should be cutting back on some calories, because it is calories in versus calories out when it's all said and done. It's like a bank account, and we, in this incidents, do not want to be in a surplus. So, you know, we don't want to cut out our protein. We need to cut from either our carbs or our fat. I'm not going to go too in depth in that because I don't want to run over in time. But egg whites are a great source because they're fat-free. I'm not saying that we don't need fat in our diet. We most certainly do, because that helps with so many functions in our bodies and helps with our hormones. So we do need fat in our diet. It's essential. So most of us should be cutting from our carbohydrates if we are not moving as much as we did prior to this quarantine. Carbohydrates are usually the one that gets cut because that's our biggest source of macronutrients usually. So that just makes sense that if we're taking in a lot of those, we should cut back. You know, and I'm not saying that you need to get rid of the bread in your house, the oats in your house, the rice, pasta, potatoes. Just watch your portion sizes. If you have a food scale, go ahead and use it. Check your labels and see what an actual serving size is in grams and weigh it. If you don't have access to a food scale, it also does give, you know, quarter cup serving, half cup. That is a little off compared to the gram factor, but it's still a good sense of what a portion size is. So you can always use measuring cups or teaspoon, tablespoons around the house that you do have. So just to be cognizant of what a serving size actually is and looks like, because sometimes it's awful disappointing. So make sure with these closing points, I just want to make sure that you know, and most of us do, stay away from processed food. But if we do have family members such as kids or teenagers around, or college kids that have come back home, they are more processed food eaters than we adults are. So, you know, just try to limit those, or try not to have them at all, first off. But I mean, if they're around and every now and then you grab a couple crackers, it's not the end of the world, but, you know, don't overindulge in those. You know, try not to have them in the house if you don't have kids. And this is a good time even for kids to start learning how to eat healthy, and maybe teach them how to cook and make healthy meals as well. You know, just watch your portion sizes. I want to make sure I'm covering everything. Just make sure you do watch your portion sizes all together. Don't skimp on your protein. And if you're trying to cut back on calories, take them from carbs first versus your healthy fats. And I hope that you guys all learned something from this. And I hope you stayed to the end. So thank you guys for watching. And I hope to see you all soon. And just keep taking care of your health and stay healthy.